What are Americans' greatest fears? According to a new study, our top fear is corruption of top government officials. I wonder why. The next biggest fear is terrorist attacks, followed by not having enough money for the future. Other fears in the top 10? People I love dying. Economic or financial collapse. Identity theft. And at number 10, Obamacare. Well, that surprises me. Kristen, why wasn't Obamacare higher?
That's a great question. But look, Tom, I mean, when I see polls like this, I mean, if you believe the normal polls, you think Hillary's going to win in a landslide. But when I see surveys like this, it makes me think there's a lot of support for Trump under the surface that's not being expressed. Because, I mean, like, who's the poster child for government corruption? Hello, Hillary Clinton. Who's the poster child for terrorism attacks? Hillary Clinton. We all know she's the pro-terrorist candidate, Tom.
Yes.
But, you know,
and Obamacare, the other thing.
And Obamacare. But this just proves that Trump has got to stick to the issues. He's got to stop talking about walker talk. He said this, she said this. He's got to stick to these issues because Americans care about these issues. And I think if he does that, maybe we could see a kind of Brexit thing. You know, before Brexit, the polls were showing that, you know, England was going to stay in the EU by 5 points, but after it happened, they voted to leave by 5 points.
That's
so you never know what can happen.
Look, you never know what can happen. If Trump is down in the polls, I think he's going to do better than his polls. I just don't know by how much. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's interesting, though. I certainly...
You do know. Don't say you don't know.
All right, you got me, Tom. I know. He loses by 5. No, I think if you're still looking at what Donald Trump has done over the last year and a half, and you're counting him out, I think that's crazy. Yeah. He's pulled off something that none of us would have thought he'd be able to. So who knows what'll happen. I do think, the point is that people are seeing through government. Nobody's supporting Hillary Clinton's track record. Even Hillary Clinton supporters, there's no one who will actually defend her record. They'll just tell you Trump's so awful that we need to vote. Even Bernie Sanders said that. Our number one goal is just making sure Trump isn't elected. Yeah. So, you know, I do think nobody is actually supporting these government policies anymore.
Yeah. I think, you know, Kristen made a great point. She's saying every one of those fears, you can really kind of attach them to Hillary Clinton, right, John?
Right. But Trump has just got so many other fears. Probably all the other fears in that thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, what are the fears that you could, I mean, I think you're saying the people's fear is just Trump. The people who are afraid of Trump, they're afraid of him. Is that what you're saying?
Right. I mean, he's just so bizarre, I think, and he's so unlikable that at some point people just, you know, you have to feel some respect and some degree of likability for someone, you know. And people also just have such irrational fears to begin with, like this stuff about terrorism that people worry about. That it's number 2, you know, it's much more dangerous to get in your bathtub than to be attacked by a terrorist, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds of that, you know, it's like being struck by lightning, dying in a terrorist attack for an American.
What about a shark? A shark scientist would say it's not.
Well, thank God we have shark scientists.
Exactly. Nick, what did you think of this? Fears? What are your fears?
There's terrorism is on there like 4 times.
Yeah.
You can't, if that would not be an acceptable Family Feud round, you get dinged.
Yes. Well, fears of terrorism, a terrorist attack, I mean, they're all on there, right?
But the good news is the clown fear is way down. It was the number. Only 8% of Americans are afraid of clowns, and only 10% are afraid of zombies.
And we've been having clown attacks.
They're at the bottom.
We've been having a bunch of clown attacks.
So Americans are standing up to clowns.
If you look at the actual data, ISIS attacks are down and clown attacks are up.
I'm serious. There's been like 8 stories about clowns like hanging out behind apartment complexes.
Believe me, we've been covering them. But Nick, I mean, are you trying to tell me that Americans, that their fears are inflated, they're exaggerated?
Probably. I mean, you know, he's right about the terrorist attack. Likeliness of being in a terrorist attack is less than lightning strikes. And actually, I remember learning that in like 8th grade, and then for 2 weeks I was terrified of being struck by lightning. So I don't think that helps. You can't. You have to pick something that's more likely that won't kill you.
Yeah, but if Hillary becomes president, terrorist attacks will become more likely. She wants to let in tens of thousands of unvetted migrants, and that's what people are so terrified of.
You know what else will increase under Hillary? Lightning strikes.
Taxes.
And clown attacks.
Exactly. Definitely clown attacks. Okay, moving on.